Girl of Ancient Civilization. Book 1 of the Ëlanari Tales. Brought to you by Ashenheart. Chapter 4. Fort Halloran. The fort was as he'd left it, worse in places. Kael spent the first hour walking the perimeter. His body already knew the corridors, where the ceiling sagged, where the floor buckled. He walked it anyway. The east wing was collapsed. Timber and stone composted into something almost organic, moss-covered, mushroom-studded. No one was getting through there. The west corridor was intact but exposed. The outer wall had gaps where stones had been knocked out by siege fire, and anyone walking through would be silhouetted against the fading daylight, useful if he needed to see someone coming, dangerous if someone needed to see him. The courtyard was overgrown, knee-high grass and creeping vine. The well sat at the center, a circle of stones, still upright, the rope long rotted. He dropped a pebble, heard it hit dry stone. The upper corridor, a half-floor that ran above the main hall, accessible by a crumbling stair, still held. The beams were stressed but solid. From up there you could see both entrances. Good ground. He came back to the main hall and found Lira exactly where he'd left her, back to the wall, knees drawn up, watching.
Anything?
She asked.
2 ways in. Both covered. 1 wall I can drop. The upper corridor gives us eyes on everything.
And the 3 outside?
He'd felt them during the walk. A disturbance at the north wall, the faint trace of displaced breath near the east rubble pile, circling.
Still there, taking their time.
They're waiting for something.
Probably.
Or someone.
He looked at her, flat, precise.
Maybe,
he said. Kael cleaned his wounds, water from the spare skin, cloth torn from his coat lining. The rib wound was angry, red margins, infection starting. He washed it 3 times and packed it with clean cloth. The shoulder was better than it felt. He could move the arm. He rebound it tight. He was checking the trace step runes at the east passage, still faintly humming in his awareness, when the sound came from the tree line. Running. Someone running, crashing through undergrowth, fast and clumsy and not trying to be quiet. He drew his sword and moved to the main corridor, pressed against the wall, looked out through the gap where the gate had been. A figure broke from the trees to the north, smaller than a fighter, dark hair cut short and uneven, running flat out, feet catching on roots. She looked over her shoulder mid-stride and her foot found a root. She went down. She hit the ground hard, scrambled up, kept running, headed straight for the fort. She reached the gate gap and stopped, saw Kael in the corridor with a sword in his hand and blood on his shirt. She froze. Her breathing was ragged, panicked, not winded. Her eyes moved across him in a quick sweep, sword, blood, stance.
Please,
she said. Her voice shook. Early 20s. Farm clothes. Wool shirt, leather vest, trousers patched at the knees, a bruise forming on her left cheekbone, fresh and dark, her knuckles scraped.
Who's behind you?
Kael asked.
Men. In the forest. They came through our settlement yesterday, armed, searching.
She swallowed. Her hands were shaking.
I tried to leave this morning. 2 were watching the road. I went into the forest.
She stopped, gathered herself.
I've been running since dawn.
Kael rid her. Calloused hands, short nails, rough skin from soil or livestock. No weapon, no concealed weight in her clothing. Exhausted, off balance. The bruise was real. He lowered his sword.
Inside. Quickly.
She came through the gap without looking back. As she passed, he caught sweat and wood smoke. She stopped and turned to him.
Thank you. I thank you.
Don't thank me yet.
Her name was Asha. She told him, sitting against the wall, drinking water from his spare skin. Her hands hadn't stopped trembling.
My settlement's south.
She said.
Half a day's walk, small, maybe 30 families. The men came through yesterday, armed, organized, looking for someone.
She paused.
They questioned my father, searched our house, turned everything out.
How many?
6 that I saw.
6. The same number that had ambushed him. They'd swept the area first, clearing ground, cutting escape routes.
Did they say what they were looking for?
Kael asked.
No. They didn't say much. Just searched. Watched.
She pulled the water skin from her lips.
When I tried to leave this morning, 2 were on the road. I went through the forest instead. Got turned around. Heard fighting, swords, earlier today.
Asha looked at the blood on his shirt and the sword on his knees.
I'm not with them.
Kael said.
They're after me too.
She nodded. Her shoulders dropped. Lira had been sitting in the corner since Asha arrived, back to the stone, eyes moving between Asha and Kael. Asha noticed her.
Oh, is she your
She's with me.
Kael said.
daughter?
No,
Sister?
she's with me.
Asha accepted it with a small nod and turned to Lira. She smiled, tired and crooked.
Hi,
She said.
I'm Asha.
Lira looked at her.
I know.
Lira said.
You know my name?
You said it.
A pause.
You have food in your vest.
Asha blinked. Her hand went to the inner pocket of her leather vest, a reflexive touch, protective.
Yes. I grabbed what I could when I left.
She produced it piece by piece. A heel of dark bread wrapped in cloth, strips of dried meat, a fist-sized lump of hard cheese.
Please.
Asha said, holding it out with both hands.
It's not much.
You eat.
Kael said.
You've been running longer than us.
She blinked. Then she tore a piece off the bread and ate it, slowly. Asha worked through the bread and a corner of cheese with a slow, polite pace of someone raised not to draw attention to her own appetite. She tried once to push the rest toward Kael. He shook his head.
You may need it later.
He said. She nodded, wrapped what was left, put it back in her vest. She did not ask why he would not eat. After the meal, Kael went out to scout. The light was going. The air was colder, autumn biting through the forest. He circled the fort once. The pursuers had found them. A boot print at the north wall, too clean to be old. A branch snapped at head height near the east rubble. A tracker's mark scratched into a tree. 3 men. Circling. Waiting. He stood at the tree line and listened. An owl somewhere. The crack of cooling wood. He went back inside. The hall was warm. Asha had started a small fire in a gap between the floor stones, feeding it dry wood from the collapsed east wing. The smoke rose through a crack in the ceiling, contained. She looked up when he entered.
Anything?
She asked.
They're out there. 3 of them. Watching.
Her face went white.
What do they want?
He looked at Lira. Lira looked back, steady.
Something I'm not going to give them.
Kael said. Asha swallowed. Didn't push. She fed the fire another stick, her hands shaking again, jaw set. She didn't ask to leave. The night settled. Kael took the main corridor entrance, back to the wall, sword across his knees. The trace step runes hummed faintly in his mind, twin points of awareness at each entrance. Asha sat near the fire, watching him.
You should sleep.
She said.
Both of you. I'll watch. I can't fight, but I can watch. I'll wake you if anything changes.
Kael considered it. He hadn't truly slept in 2 days. The wounds dragged at his thoughts, softened the borders of his vision.
2 hours.
He said.
Then wake me.
He settled against the wall, sword on his knees, close enough to the entrance to be fighting before a man made it 3 steps through. His eyes began to close. Last thing he saw, Lira across the hall against the back wall in her cloak, dark eyes on him. He dreamed of a room he knew. Small, warm, morning light through a window that faced east. A table with 2 cups on it. One steaming, one empty. The chair across from him pushed back, the cushion holding the shape of someone who'd been sitting there moments ago. A strand of hair on the pillow in the next room. The door was closed. It hadn't been closed before. He reached for the handle and his hand passed through it like smoke, and he stood there with his arm extended into nothing, and the room got colder and he couldn't leave. Chapter 5. Voices in the dark.
Kael.
Asha's voice. Soft. Urgent. His eyes opened and his hand closed on the sword hilt. The hall. The fire low to embers. The walls of Fort Halloran gray around him.
Something outside.
Asha whispered. She was crouched near him, her face orange in the ember glow, her eyes wide.
North wall. I heard voices.
He was on his feet. The dream, the room, the door fell away. The trace step at the east passage hummed in his mind. Faintly, someone had come close enough to wake the rune, testing. Lira was awake too. She sat against the back wall, knees drawn up, cloak tight. Her eyes were open and steady on Kael.
Stay here.
He said to both of them.
Don't move. Don't speak.
He moved into the main corridor. Low, one hand trailing the wall, sword in the other. The stones were cold beneath his fingers. He reached the gap where the gate had been and pressed himself flat against the stone. Looked out. Moonlight. Intermittent. Clouds moving across a half sky. The courtyard was a patchwork of silver and black. Movement. North wall. A shadow, low and quick, moving along the base of the stone toward the east passage. Then a second shadow, 10 paces behind, upright, watching the first one's back. 2 probing. The third would be somewhere else. Covering. Assessing. The first shadow reached the east passage and crouched. Kael heard a scrape, fingers on rubble, testing whether it could be moved quietly. It couldn't. The stones he'd piled shifted with a grinding sound that carried through the night. The shadow retreated. The second followed. They disappeared around the north wall. Kael waited, counted breaths, let the night settle back into itself. He checked the trace step at the east passage, intact, humming. They hadn't crossed the threshold. They were learning the edges of his defenses without stepping into them. He went back to the hall.
They're testing the entrances,
He said.
checking what's blocked, what's trapped.
Asha had retreated to the far wall, her arms wrapped around herself. The firelight caught the bruise on her cheekbone.
What do we do?
We wait. This is their move. Let them waste it.
An hour passed. Then another. The probing continued, irregular, patient. A scrape at the east passage, a shadow at the gate gap. Once, a pebble thrown from somewhere beyond the north wall, landing in the courtyard with a sharp crack that made Asha flinch. Kael didn't. He sat at his post and catalogued. 3 attackers, 3 approaches, east, west, the gate. The south wall was unwatched because it was the one he could collapse. The temperature dropped. Frost crept along the stones, turning the moss silver. Then the voice.
You in the fort.
From outside, east side, beyond the rubble-blocked passage, a man's voice, low, steady, unhurried, speaking, as if there were no wall between them. Kael didn't answer. He sat in the hall, listening, his back to the wall.
I know you're in there. I know you're hurt. I know there are 3 of you and 3 of us, and I think we both know which side of those numbers is going to matter when the sun comes up.
Silence. The fire crackled. Asha's breathing quickened.
Here's what I'm offering. You send out the girl, the young one, the one from the safe house, and you walk away, clean, no chase, everyone lives.
The voice paused.
I'm not an unreasonable man. I don't want to dig you out of those ruins one piece at a time. It's messy and it's slow, and I've got other things to do this week.
Kael didn't answer, but he was listening. Confident, experienced, commanding. The man running the operation.
Think about it.
The voice said.
You have until dawn.
Then silence. Kael sat in the dark, the girl from the safe house. Someone had briefed him about the mission specifics. This wasn't random. Someone knew what Lira was.
Who was that?
Asha whispered from the far wall.
The man in charge.
What does he want?
Kael looked at Lira. She sat in her corner, unmoved, her dark eyes catching the last of the ember light.
He wants her.
Kael said.
Why?
I don't know.
He looked at Lira.
Do you?
Lira held his gaze, steady.
People have always wanted me.
She said.
The wanting has never been kind. Are you going to give me to them?
Lira asked.
No.
Kael said.
Why not?
Because I said I wouldn't.
He said.
Okay.
She said. She pulled her cloak tighter and closed her eyes. Resting. The hours crawled. Asha couldn't sleep. She sat by the dying fire and fed it small sticks, more for the motion than the warmth, her eyes moving between the entrances.
You should rest.
Kael said.
I can't.
Try.
I keep hearing them. Outside. The scraping.
That's them testing the rubble at the East Passage. They do it every 40 minutes or so. It's routine.
Routine.
She repeated. She was quiet for a while. Then.
How long have you been doing this?
Doing what?
This. Fighting, running, sleeping with a sword on your knees.
Long enough that I don't think about it.
That's sad.
It's practical.
Those aren't different things.
He looked at her. Then away. The night went on. The probing continued. Once, at what Kael guessed was the 3rd hour, he heard movement at the main corridor. The walls on either side of the gate gap. Someone climbing, testing whether the upper sections could be scaled. He moved silently to the upper corridor and waited. A hand appeared at the wall top, gloved, fingers testing the stone. Kael let it become a wrist, an arm, the top of a head. Then he drove a loose stone down onto the fingers. A muffled curse. The hand vanished. A thud below, a body dropping from the wall. Scrabbling sounds, retreating fast. He went back down. Lira's eyes were open, watching him. In the near dark, he thought he saw it, the faintest pulse beneath her sleeve, blue-white, gone before he could be sure. Asha was pressed against the wall, white-faced.
They tried to climb in.
Kael said.
They didn't.
He sat back down, checked his belt pouch, 3 flare stones, charcoal, half-used, his sword, unruined. The edge binding needed redrawing before any serious fight. He pulled the charcoal out and began working. Slow strokes along the fuller of the blade, the 3 familiar lines of edge binding. The rune glowed faintly as it set. Outside, the forest waited. He sat with his sword across his knees, the fresh edge binding humming faintly against his palms, and watched the corridor fill with the first gray light. Chapter 6. Firelight. Dawn didn't come. It seeped. Gray light crawled through the cracks in the ceiling and lay across the floor. The fire had burned down to a fist-sized ember that pulsed once, twice, and died. The hall went cold. The voice outside didn't return. The forest went silent. Kael hadn't slept. He sat at the main corridor entrance with his sword on his knees and his back against the stone. His ribs throbbed. His shoulder had stiffened. Asha was awake. She'd been awake since the voice, maybe longer. She sat near the dead fire with her knees drawn up, arms wrapped around them, eyes moving between the entrances. Lira slept. Her breathing was even, body curled into the cloak. The silence stretched. Minutes became an hour. The gray light bright into something almost white.
They stopped.
Asha said. Her voice was hoarse.
The sounds outside. They stopped.
I know.
Is that good?
It means they're done testing. They know what we have,
And
and now they decide what to do about it.
She was quiet. Then she unfolded herself, stood, and crossed the hall to where Kael sat. She stopped 2 feet from him.
let me look at your ribs.
They're fine.
They're not. The wound is infected.
He looked up at her. The bruise on her cheekbone had darkened to purple-black. Her mouth was set in a line he recognized.
Please.
She said.
I've tended livestock wounds worse than this. Let me help.
He let her. She knelt beside him and peeled the bandage from his ribs with fingers that were careful and warm. The cloth came away stiff with dried blood, and the air hit the wound like cold water. He hissed through his teeth. The cut was 4 inches long and angry, the edges red and swollen, a thin line of yellow crusted along the deepest section. Asha studied it with focused, methodical attention. She poured water from the skin over the wound, blotting gently with a strip torn from the hem of her shirt. Her hands were steady.
This needs to drain.
She said.
The deep part. It's holding fluid.
Do what you need to.
She pressed. He gripped the stone floor with both hands and stared at the ceiling, breath coming in measured pulls. Something gave in the wound, a small wet release, and the pressure eased.
Better.
Marginally.
She cleaned it again, packed it with fresh cloth. Her fingers worked along his ribs, checking for deeper damage. He could smell her hair, wood smoke, and something green. She moved to his shoulder, unwound the binding. The puncture was sealed, barely. She cleaned it, rebounded, then reached up and pushed a strand of hair from his forehead. He didn't move, didn't pull away, just went still.
You've been doing this alone.
She said quietly.
The fighting. The watching. The bleeding. How long?
A while.
Before this mission?
Before lots of things.
She looked up, found his eyes. Her face was close to his. He looked away toward the gray light of the corridor. Asha's hand withdrew from his shoulder. She sat back.
Where are you heading?
She asked after a moment, quieter now.
After this. Where does the mission take you?
East.
How far east?
Far enough.
And how long will you stay here? In the fort?
As long as we have to.
She nodded. Lira opened her eyes. She'd been listening the whole time. She was in her corner, cloak pulled to her chin, dark eyes on Kael and Asha across the hall. Asha returned to the dead fire and began rebuilding it with small sticks and dry moss. Lira sat up. She looked at Kael. He was staring at the corridor entrance, his expression unreadable, the freshly bound wounds hidden beneath his shirt.
Who is she?
Lira said. Kael turned.
The one you're thinking about.
Lira said.
Not her.
A flick of dark eyes toward Asha, then back.
The other one.
The hall was quiet. Asha's hands paused on the kindling, though she didn't turn around. Kael looked at Lira. He said nothing. He turned back to the corridor and watched the light grow. Lira watched him. Asha fed the fire. The new flames caught and crackled.
Now Fort Halloran stood old and grey, where the war had left its bones of stone. And Kael, who'd bled here a younger year, knew each wall as a man knows his own. He drew the wards with a charcoal hand, and he laid his traces by the southern gate. And the last sun fell on the ruined land, and the child stood still as she learned to wait. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort, who comes too soft and comes too late. For the kindest hand may hold a knife, and the warmest smile may turn to fate. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort. From the tree line came a trembling maid, with her bruises fresh and her eyes cast down. And she begged for shelter in the shade, and he took her in, for his heart was hewn. Then the voices rose in the black of night. From the leafless wood came the low command, give the girl to me and walk away, and I will not mark thee with my hand. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort, who comes too soft and comes too late. For the kindest hand may hold a knife, and the warmest smile may turn to fate. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort. By the firelight she washed his wound, and her fingers moved through his tangled hair. And she told of a village burning down, and he listened hard, for her voice was fair. From the darkened corner the child spake low, who is she, Kael, the one ye mourn? And he gave no answer, for the wind had come, and the night grew long ere the break of morn. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort, who comes too soft and comes too late. For the kindest hand may hold a knife, and the warmest smile may turn to fate. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort. And three there sat 'neath the ruined stone, one to guard and one to feign, and the third a child with her watchful eye, who knew the smell of a lying flame. Oh, beware the stranger at the fort.